A couple of days ago, there was the CNN debate, actually, and the topic of this was, of course, healthcare. Now, this was actually strictly supposed to be about the Graham-Cassidy bill and the single payer. And there was an exchange that happened. Now, this was following a question that was thrown up by one of the people who was in the crowd. And she was talking about the failures that's Obamacare. Now, further along that after this question was initially answered, there was a point brought up by Cassidy concerning drug cost. And I want you guys to really pay attention to this because, like, shortly after Cassidy makes a point about drug pricing, Bernie Sanders also decides to chime in, and they have a little exchange after that.
First, controlling pharmaceutical cost is a bipartisan issue. It is something that I have focused upon. It is something I'm passionate about. It is not as if you believe in single payer that you're the only folks who care about those issues. I'm a doc. I understand that if somebody can't afford their insulin, that is a problem. Lindsay talked about the profits since Obamacare passed of insurance companies. You ought to look at the profits for pharmaceutical companies. Was this the solution for those industries? And by the way, as those profits have climbed, so have your premiums. So have the taxpayer outlays. There is a direct relation between you paying more for your premium and the profits those industries are getting. If that is the answer, we got a bad problem. I'll also say about power to the people and power in Washington, D.C. Why did they do so well? Read a book called Bitter Pill. A guy named, I think, Stephen Brill. He talks about how Obamacare was crafted. Everybody was at the table. Pharma, AMA, big insurance, hospitals, but not you and me. And that's why our premiums rise, and that's why our taxes go up. And that's why they do so well. If we give the power back to you, back to the state, that totally changes. And Washington, which is hardwired for them to do well, now has to come to you and get your approval for these things. I'm about you having that power.
Well, I'm glad. I am glad to hear that Senator Cassidy is concerned about the high cost of prescription drugs, because you're quite right. Last year, the 5 major pharmaceutical industries made $50 billion in profit. You got CEOs in the pharmaceutical industry who make millions and millions and millions of dollars in compensation, and 1 out of 5 Americans cannot afford the medicine they need. Are you going to join me in saying that Medicare should negotiate drug prices with the pharmaceutical industry, which is what every other major country on earth does? Are you going to join me in saying that pharmacists should be able to get the same exact medicine in Canada or abroad at a fraction of the price they have to pay for in this country? Are you on board that legislation?
I've heard Bernie say in a VA committee hearing that if we can't afford a medicine, the government should just take over the intellectual property. It should commandeer the manufacturing plants, the distribution chain. It should become the pharmaceutical company. Lindsey Graham is right. Bernie's the most honest person in the Senate. He's a socialist, and he believes it. And he believes that the creativity of the pharmaceutical industry is not important. Oh, we can take that, but where will the cure for Alzheimer's come from? If now when there's a cure, the pharmaceutical company knows that their profit will be commandeered. I can tell you, it's a cheap fix to commandeer. And the price is tremendous. There won't be that cure for Alzheimer's. There won't be that cure for cancer. There won't be because there was a short-term grab. There are solutions, but it is not socialism.
You know, do you think negotiating drug prices through Medicare, which purchases huge amounts of money, is a bad thing? You think it is wrong for pharmacists to be able to buy cheaper medicine, same exact brands, from Canada? Are you going to come on board that legislation? I don't know what you're really talking about taking over drug companies. What we want to do is lower the outrageously high prices in this country. I've given you 2 approaches that can work: reimportation, Medicare negotiating. Are you on board?
Reimportation does not work. Canada has 10% of the population of the United States. You could take the entirety of Canada, shake it like a piggy bank, and all the drugs would come out, and it still wouldn't be enough for us all.
So did you guys witness that? That was like the biggest dodge out of hell. Man, I'm thinking to myself, and I had to watch that like a few times to just like understand like what the hell is this nigga even talking about? Because he's going along talking about intellectual property. And you know what? Just to throw that nigga up on, I was like, you know what? Let me go and let me just search it. And it was absolutely nowhere. I could not find any reference to whatever he was claiming to quote. So when he was talking about, oh yeah, I was quoting you, I'd have been like, yeah, you know what? You are quoting. No, you ain't quoting me. You quoting yourself, bitch. So in other words, you fucking making that shit up. I mean, dude, you go on this long tirade and you're over here talking about you want to go about controlling the cost of drugs, and there's a correlation between the price of drugs and the profits of these pharmaceutical corporations. So Bernie Sanders is like, okay, you know what? I feel that. You know what? That's a good point. So you know what? I have 2 pieces of legislation that I proposed. You gonna come on board with me and fight the pharmaceutical companies and get these prices under control? And then basically he just act like Neo from the fucking Matrix, just like, just did this whole fucking circle all around. Oh, well, Bernie Sanders is just trying to take over the pharmaceutical company. No, bitch, you're the one who brought it up. You fucking brought it up about the price of pharmaceuticals. And now, when I put you in a situation where you can now take control of the situation, you don't want to do anything. You want to just go out there and you want to just smear the shit out of them and just talk about, Bernie said this, Bernie said that. No, even if he did say that, in and of itself, that doesn't matter, because in that moment, at that debate, Bernie was giving you an opportunity to do something different. He's not referencing some other situation that, he may or may not have done, to which we don't know. Maybe we don't fucking know. But it's sad that, that the people, that this is an elected official, and this guy is up here acting like he has your best interest, and he just clearly it's just all a fucking act. He is just a class act fraud. And some people compared him to Count Chocolate. I don't make that comparison. He's a seemingly decent looking guy, but shit, man, like you were just like you had the audacity to just like take your little ass out there on CNN, and you thought that was gonna work. That you brought the point up, and now when he says, "Hey, you know what? Let's work together on this." It's not gonna work. You know what? Even if those 2 ideas that he brought up to you, Cassidy, those weren't good ideas, that doesn't necessarily mean that those are the only ideas that you necessarily had to go with. You could have proposed your own idea, or at the very least, as a general sentiment, you could have just said, "You know what? I'm interested in working with you on that. I'm not agree with those 2 ideas that you brought up," but you could have said, "You know what? Yeah, cool. You know what? We'll work together." But he didn't do that because he's not fucking serious. He is not on your side. He is fucking full of shit.